This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Pensacola State Today. I'm your host, Drexel Gilbert. On today's program, we are going to be talking about an important collaborative effort between Pensacola State College and the University of Alabama. This effort is designed to help keep workers safe in the workplace and also to help educate industry so it will do its job and in doing so, to thrive. We will also meet three of PSC's instructors who are being honored for their excellence in the classroom. Before we begin the conversation about the University of Alabama's OSHA Training Institute Education Center and its partnership with Pensacola State College, I wanted to take a few moments and just give you some background on OSHA and set the stage for why this program is so important. The Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970 was created by Congress to ensure safe and healthful working conditions for working men and women by setting and enforcing standards and by providing training, outreach, education, and assistance. It covers most private sector employers and workers and additionally some public sector employers and workers. So what does the OSHA Act seek to do? Well, it seeks to protect workers against hazardous working conditions that might lead to incidents such as falls, accidents involving machinery or chemicals, and also against working conditions like poor indoor air quality and unsanitary working environment or environments that have heat or cold hazards. The OSHA Act also covers workplace violence and requires proper record keeping of accidents, injuries, and other such incidents. How common are workplace accidents? Well, I went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and looked this up for you. In 2014, which is the most recent numbers that are available, it's reported that there were more than 2.9 million non-fatal work-related injuries and illnesses in the private industry. And these are cases that might involve sprains or breaks or back injuries, maybe some falls or slips. On average, almost 90 workers a week or 13 workers a day are killed on the job or were in 2014. And 1 in 5 worker deaths were in construction, with the leading causes being falls and electrocution. So having said all of that, we set the stage for the importance of this training, and we're going to talk about how it involves the University of Alabama and Pensacola State College. So let's first introduce our guest on the program today. And sitting to my left is John Sykes. And John, welcome to the program. You are the director of the University of Alabama's Safe State program. Sure. And next to you is Antoine Bell, who is the manager of business Development and College Relations at the University of Alabama. And thank you so much for being with us as well. And of course, you recognize the gentleman to my right, Dr. Ed Meadows, who is the president of Pensacola State College. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's just jump in here and get started. We've heard some of the numbers, we've heard the statistics. Obviously, this is very important. Very, very important. What is the importance, though, of the designation of OSHA Training Institute Education Center at the University of Alabama?
Well, the importance is related to the fact that employers are required by the OSHA standards to have their employees trained in recognition and control of safety and health hazards, and to ensure that access to that training, that there is access to that training. OSHA has set up the OSHA Training Institute educational centers all over the country, and require that these centers meet certain control standards and training standards, and they're able and capacity to provide the training in the area that they're serving.
Okay, so the University of Alabama coordinates these classes, and there's a partnership with Pensacola State College, which we're going to address in a moment. But who would be the person who would attend this type of a class?
Really, any employee of, say, a construction worker or a construction worker supervisor, but it can be a manufacturing foreman, safety and health people with safety and health responsibilities. Usually attending the centers are going to be those people that are employed as with responsibilities of safety and health in their company, whether it's construction or in general industry.
And what are they learning whenever they attend these classes?
Well, primarily we teach courses on, first of all, what are the OSHA standards. OSHA has many standards that cover all sorts of potential hazards, safety hazards, things like machine guarding, things like excavation, like trenching and excavation, electrical hazards, just long list. And there's a lot of standards covering all of those potential hazards. Then they will also learn in other classes just how to recognize. Say we want the employee who is actually working down in the trench, say, to be able to recognize whether or not that trench has been constructed in a safe manner, so that they have the knowledge to know whether something needs to be corrected, as well as the supervisor and that's overseeing the job. So we want them to recognize the hazards, and we want the company to know how to correct for the hazard.
Okay, so they can take this information with them back to their company, but they can also take this information and teach others on a large scale.
Oh yes, yes. The format of a training center, of each training center, is we have some participants take the 4-day standards course. If they want, and if they have the necessary experience, they can then go and teach what we call 30-hour and 10-hour courses, where a 10-hour course is for a worker, and it's really on how does the worker recognize hazards in his or her workplace, whether that's a construction site or in an industry or factory or something like that. So we also teach the 30-hour course, which is intended for supervisors who are overseeing that job site, and they learn how to correct for those, not just what the hazards are, but how to correct for it and how to make adjustments, or do we need to stop work now and fix something so that people are safe.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to draw Mr. Bell and Dr. Meadows into the conversation as well. And now that you have some background on what this institute does, we're going to talk about how it relates to Pensacola State College and quite possibly to you. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. Today we were talking about Pensacola State College's partnership with the University of Alabama, with University of Alabama's OSHA Training Institute Education Center. Let's draw Dr. Meadows into the conversation now, and I wanted to ask you, Dr. Meadows, what is Pensacola State's involvement with this, and why is there an involvement?
Well, this particular program that is offered through Safe State, it's under the College of Continuing Studies at the University of Alabama. And they do all the outreach of the university, not only in these areas but other areas as well, like their external degree program and so forth. And they have a board of visitors. So we have 3 individuals in this community that represent this part of Florida on that board of visitors. So there is a communication network that the college has established to make sure that there are individuals from the region that interact with the university and their programs. But more importantly, the mission of Pensacola State, of course, in corporate and professional development is to seek partnerships. One of our highest priorities is garnering partners that can assist with our mission, which is to better educate our workforce, and certainly safety is key to that. So the opportunity of this particular program, their mission is to do outreach into the service area that they designated in their grant proposal, and this is one of those areas. So fortunately for us, it is a natural collaboration and partnership whereby we're providing the space and the mechanisms for registering individuals in our community that work and supervise in business and industry and construction. And we have a lot more large industry than you would think. in addition, to the recreation and vacationing where we see thousands of individuals, there is a lot of industry in the Panhandle. So we're very fortunate that we can provide this space and the mechanism for enrolling students that are residents that live and work in the Panhandle of Florida.
Talk a little bit about the mechanics of how this does work, how the mechanics of the partnership.
Well, as a joint collaborative between Pensacola State and the University of Alabama, we disseminate information to targeted areas that fall under the OSHA standards and let them know that this training is available and when the classes will be held. We hold these classes on the 4th floor of our downtown center on Garden Street. We make sure that we have a conducive environment for those individuals that are being served by this particular program. And Ruth McKinnon, who is our Director for Corporate and Professional Development, she makes sure that she communicates with the staff in Safe State to schedule these classes.
Okay, so I want to jump over now to Mr. Bell and talk about the impact on the community. Of course, we're talking about the community of Pensacola, and Dr. Meadows has addressed the fact that there's more industry in the Panhandle than one might consider. And Mr. Bell, you have some real-world examples of why this is important and the impact on our community here, but also the community at large.
Absolutely, Drexel. The ultimate goal at the end of the day is for everyone to make it home safely. And over the last couple of days, we've received reports all around the country of accidents at the workplace. There have been 5 fatalities, at least, that we've gotten reports of, and 1 gentleman that was injured on the job. And these are people that have families. These are fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and children. And the lack of knowledge sometimes on the at the workplace can cause these accidents. Sometimes it could be carelessness, but sometimes it's just the lack of knowledge of OSHA standard. And one of the men, just as a prime example, that was electrocuted in North Alabama, he had been on the job 26 years. He was my age, 51 years old. And it may have been just that he's been doing the same routine for 26 years and may have overlooked one of those safety standards. And the reason for these classes and this training is to teach everyone on the job, both the supervisors as well as the workers, about the safety standards and how to be cognizant of what's happening on their job so that they don't get hurt and that they can make it home safely.
All right, and Mr. Sykes, give us an example, just something we can kind of wrap our brains around on what people who go through these classes learn, a real world, real workplace example.
Sure. Yeah. Well, okay, say for construction workers and supervisors, frequently in construction you have to build scaffolding so that you can work at heights without having to run up and down a ladder, which has its own safety issues. Mm-hmm. If scaffolding is not erected correctly with railing and people are not tied off correctly, it's a frequently cited violation, and there are a lot of hazards from falls from scaffolding. So the workers learn to recognize that there's a lot of ways to hurt yourself on scaffolding, and that there are ways to prevent that. That's why we tie them off. A lot of times workers don't want to tie off. It kind of restricts their movement, but there's a reason for it. The supervisors then learn how to erect scaffolding correctly and how to make sure that everything is set up correctly to prevent those and reduce the number of accidents resulting from improperly erected scaffolding.
Okay. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the numbers of people who have gone through this training program, and we're going to have information for those of you out here who might believe that this is something that you need to do, either for yourself or for your company, and we'll have that information for you. We'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back. I want to ask Dr. Sykes now, why would a company in the Gulf Coast area be interested in participating in these OSHA training classes?
Well, knowledgeable workers are going to help you, for one thing, avoid fines and citations from OSHA if you were inspected. But that's really just the start. An injured worker is a worker who can't work, there's lost time, there's workman's comp claims, there's so any investment you made in that worker may be lost for a time period. Now, obviously, if it's a serious enough injury, it may be permanently. So businesses are beginning to look at a safe workplace as part of their long-term sustainability plan. So the training can help the bottom line in the end.
How many have gone through these classes at the Pensacola State College campus and so far, and what's the ripple effect?
Well, in the last 3 years, 95 individuals from this community have taken our standards classes, and I don't know the number, but some number of those have become trainers, and they have gone out and throughout the area and trained an additional 450 workers and supervisors on hazards and hazard recognition and hazard control. So it is a great ripple effect. That's a good term for it.
Okay. And Dr. Meadows, how often are these classes held at Pensacola State College?
Well, I'm told that we have 9 classes scheduled this year. I visited one of those classes last year, and we actually had participants from outside the viewing area of WSRE. We had participants from Alabama and as far away as Panama City. So the promotion of this program, the university has done a very good job, and of course we've done our own promotion within our 2-county service area, but it is really encouraging to know that because of our offering this program that we're reaching a wider geographical area than just our 2-county service area.
Okay, so speaking of the promoting and the popularity of it, how does one go about registering or getting more information for these classes?
Well, it's pretty easy to do. You can call Ruth McKinnon here at Pensacola State at 850-484-1363, and to register for our courses. She can connect you with the schedules and which courses are appropriate and that sort of thing.
Is there a cap on, and you may not have the answer to this question right away, is there a cap on the number of participants per class?
Yes, that's one of the standards that OSHA has, and I think it's 20.
Okay.
So you need to go ahead and register, but then as Dr. Meadows was saying, it is offered more than once a year. There's other opportunities in case you don't get in the first one.
There's some flexibility.
Yeah.
Well, as we come to a close of this interview, Mr. Bell, I would like for you, again, I just thought that was great what you said earlier, at the end of the day, what this entire process and program and collaboration is all about.
The ultimate goal, of course, is safety and to get home safely to your family and be able to return to work the next day, make your company even more efficient. But the bottom line is safety and just being able to go home.
Okay. Well, Antoine Bell and John Sykes and Dr. Ed Meadows, thank you so much for being on our program today. We will take a break, and when we come back, you're going to meet some excellent teachers on the campus of Pensacola State College. Pensacola State College is filled with excellent instructors. Each year, several are singled out for the Academy of Teaching Excellence Award. On today's program, we are going to meet 3 of those instructors. We will introduce them to you in alphabetical order. They are Dr. Hikmat BC, Sonia McCall-Stralo, and Dr. Mitzi Sowell.
I'm Dr. Hikmat BC. And I'm the Associate Professor of Physics at Physical Sciences Department at Pensacola State College. When I finished my Master's in Physics in Nepal, I was trying to get into the research area in physics. And that's why I came to the New Mexico State University for my PhD program. And within 5 years, I finished the PhD. And then while I was doing the PhD, I used to teach some of the physics courses, lab and lectures both, and I really like it. And then I decided to come to the teaching academic area, and I then joined Pensacola State College in 2012. My teaching philosophy is the enthusiasm of teacher to teach translates into the enthusiasm of a student to learn. If I rotate this way, it's going to rotate me. If I do other way, it's going to do me other direction. It just changes my direction. That's how it does. Gyroscope, how the plane works. How much time a teacher puts into his preparation for the class also helps a student succeed, because he can flow his information very smoothly in classroom. That way, students learn at the deeper level, talking to each other, and the instructor can facilitate the environment and try to make the student, encourage the student to ask the question, communicate with the teacher without any fear. So that kind of environment I create in the classroom. So that way, I feel students succeed in my class. Yeah, learning physics is great because physics is a basic science, we call, and that teaches us to look at our whole day-to-day life activities, like how electricity works. For example, if you see how electricity works, how this electricity converted into light energy, how this light energy can be converted into back to the electricity. My biggest happiness, it comes when I teach something students, when I see them solving these problems. I feel that glimpse of light in their eyes. That makes me very happy. I really care about these students, and that when they learn something, I feel very, very fortunate and successful in that.
I'm Sonia McCall-Stralo. I've been into massage therapy now for 36 years, facial specialist for 12 years almost. I was actually an adjunct instructor here to begin with, and in 2007 became the coordinator over 3 programs: massage therapy, advanced facials, and basic facials. I teach students the importance of touch. In our today's society, we're such a fast-paced place in this world, and that we don't stop and take time for ourselves. And health is so important. So I teach them, first and foremost, the beauty of touch, the reason why you touch, and the intent of what you're doing in our profession. One of the things about our massage therapy program, we are a vocational program, so this is a certificate program, but I can't tell you how many students walk through this door and they see that the importance of touch, but then there's more things and levels that you can do within the medical community. Right now I have 2 students, one's become a brain surgeon already, that actually started in the massage program. So to me, sometimes this can be a stepping stone for students to open their mind and their career facet for other things in the medical field. The most important thing about massage therapy is being able to touch the mind, the body, the soul, and the spirit. So when you need that connection and you meet that person that's coming across your table, you're going to help them heal. Healing touch is so important. Take your cup, ladies and gentlemen. Go in and hit the skin. Oh, wow. I tell my students all the time this little saying that I have that a mentor shared with me. She said, knowledge is something that you share, not something that you own. So after all these years of being in business as a business professional and now an educator, I love giving back. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Well, I see this program blossoming even more. I feel like we've taken it to another level already. I'm actually working on a grant right now, and I intend to be able to help our veterans that come to this college. My purpose for this grant is to have 192 vouchers to be able to give back to our veterans that can't afford Healthy Touch. Being recognized as a teacher of excellence, I was very shocked in a little bit of a way, I guess you could say, but very honored. I give everything I have to my students, and I feel very blessed.
My My name is Dr. Mitzi Sowell, and I'm originally from Louisiana, and I made my way to Florida by way of Mobile, Alabama for about 13 years. And I started teaching because I did a lot of patient education at a hospital I worked at in Fairhope. And the more patient education I did, the more I really loved teaching, and I thought that seemed to be a good route to take. I really love interacting with the students. I learn a lot from the students. I teach both face-to-face and online courses, and so I do a lot of discussions. I really try to get the students to bring in examples, and we usually hear of when the light goes off in the students' eyes, that's very motivating. And it's just motivating to see students succeed and progress in life and helping them do that. My students usually tell me that I have a way of starting at the bottom and building them up instead of trying to talk over them. Biology can be a tough subject. If the students knew what I knew already, then they wouldn't need to be in my class. So I do try to start at a level in which they can understand and then build from that understanding into more complex subject matter. And then to be able to teach in a facility that's brand new and has new technology. It's been very rewarding to work with this student group on this campus, and very rewarding to work with the faculty and staff on this campus because they're all motivated and their concern is the student. I employ a lot of different methods. It depends on the course. I teach anatomy and physiology. I teach non-majors biology. I just started teaching microbiology, but I try to employ, innovative methods, hands-on methods in lab. I try to include enough personable information so the students realize that I'm a real person. And that I actually have some life experience. So I guess it just depends upon the course as to what my particular style is. When I first started teaching, I told my parents, I said, I can't believe that they actually pay me to do this. That's how much I liked it. And to be recognized as being good at something that you really love, that's very validating.
And that's going to do it for this edition of Pensacola State Today. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm your host, Drexel Gilbert. See you next time.